For so long, we have worried that combining work and friendship is just going to be a disaster. We're so worried about all the things that could go wrong. Either worried that socializing and all the supposed drama that might come from friendship will hurt us at work, or conversely, that if we bring the work over to our personal life, to our friendships, they'll feel strangled. Like, well, what if we always talk about work? And what if I just need a break from work? And so we have these fears about either one being hurt by the other. And yet we also have so many examples and so much research behind how healthy and helpful and appropriate and successful it can be to combine these two areas of our lives, which I think is super cool. So I'm doing a series right now on let's assume you are building a best friend at work, whether you wanted to or not. What if you're feeling closer to one person? What if you do have that relationship? And how can you do everything in your power to protect the friendship and protect the work environment? And so this is the fourth of 8 videos where I'm highlighting what I would say are the rules of the road for putting into place what your friendship needs to be being really truthfully, intentionally about. It's your job as these friends to pay attention to whether you're doing these things. And this is one of the important ones that's just worth stating and reflecting and maybe talking about with your friend, to talk about how you two do this together. And that is being able to recognize the different roles. We talk about it in our heads to ourselves, worrying, but what would it look like if we actually talked about that and thought about it and recognized that those two different roles, yes, there could be problems, but that doesn't mean there has to be problems, right? So I think of like a similar relationship issue would be like the idea of being married and having kids. We understand that there's things as a married couple that we do when the kids aren't around, and that we act differently when the kids are around. And we understand that when the kids are around, certain things aren't appropriate, or certain subjects. And we understand that that doesn't make us fake. It doesn't make it less of anything. It's just understanding the context. We want to do the same thing here. We want to understand that our friendship has a context at work and our friendship has a context outside of work. And our goal is to make sure that in each of those contexts, we are clear what hat we're wearing, which context we're in, if you will, and kind of be mindful that 80% of our subject matter should pertain to that context, if you will. So going back to the earlier example of like a married couple, just because the kids aren't around doesn't mean you can't talk about mundane things or talk about planning things and the things you would talk about in front of the kids, right? But you also want to take advantage of that alone time and talk about a whole bunch of other things and experience things as a couple without the kids there. But so you'd want to do 80-20 maybe, or just be mindful that you're taking advantage of the time as a couple, right? And same when you've got the kids, then 80-20 the other way. So you're not there to ooh into each other's eyes and oogle and touch and all that stuff. You're there for the kids, and you can have some love and some interaction and be a romantic couple, but just being mindful of the context. That's 80-20. So coming back to the workplace, when you're at work, be mindful that 80% of your conversation is around the workplace stuff, and your friendship can benefit that. It makes you safer saying, what do you think I should do in this situation, and how should I respond, and will you brainstorm this with me? Will you give me feedback on this? These are things that we can work better because we have this friend that we know is giving us advice, that they care about us. They've got our back, they know us. And so we can have that relationship benefit us at work. But most of our conversation should be about how we can be working better. What ideas do we have? How can we accomplish this mission better? How can we be more proactive? How can we help reach out and fix certain things? Let's let our friendship be in that context a blessing to that context. That's not the appropriate time to be sitting there talking about our personal lives. 80-20. On the flip side, when you're outside of work, when you're at lunch together, when you're hanging out on the weekends, when you're calling each other or spending time together with your spouses or with your families, again, work can come up, right? It's not that you don't have that in common anymore, but again, be mindful of the context. Maybe 80-20 this time, work comes up a little bit, but be mindful that you're getting to know each other outside of work, that you're talking about a whole bunch of other things, that you're learning about each other and asking questions about each other's history and meeting their kids and getting to know their significant others and finding out what other commonalities you have and do those activities together and make memories. And so just being mindful of both contexts matter, And it's our responsibility to make sure that we don't let work come in and just be talking about work all evening and on the weekends when we're trying to build a friendship. But neither do we want to think that the workplace is the only place we should be bonding and bringing our friendship stuff and all of those other issues. So hopefully that's obvious. But it is helpful, I think, to just kind of step back and use this as a moment to assess your friendship. Which one do you feel like you might err on the other side of? Do you tend to bring more work into the friendship or more personal life into the workplace? And what about your friend? And what would feel better to you? And how could you potentially get this back into a place where it feels like both feel like they benefit the other in such a powerful way? That's what I want for you. A really great relationship and a really great work relationship. And you can do this if you practice all 8 of these things. And this one especially, just being able to say, do you want me to wear my manager hat or my friend hat? Are we in this context or that context? Are we outside of work or at work? And let's be mindful about how much time we're spending talking about the things that belong in that context or not.